Michigan versus Michigan State is always a big deal, and it will be this Saturday night as well. This can also be a make or break game for Sherrone and Jonathan Smith. We'll discuss. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode because we're here every day. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out too. And don't forget, you can hype YouTube videos as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So Michigan and Michigan State, this one's as big as ever. And Barry Alvarez checks in on Luke Fickell. We'll tell you what he said. And Brett Bielema is rooting for Ohio State and Indiana. What is going on? We'll have all those details, plus our Big Ten classics coming up. But I think the most interesting game on the Big Ten slate this weekend is Michigan at Michigan State. And it's just important for these two head coaches right now that are involved as any game in the past. By the way, join us live right after that game, right here on Locked On Big Ten. We go live on Saturdays after the biggest games. We have chosen this one to go live for my immediate post-game reaction, yours as well, real live time comments. That'll be about 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific after that game. But the truth is that this game is always interesting, no matter how good Michigan is or whether Michigan State is good or rebuilding. This game always delivers something. Back in 2015, Michigan's trouble with the snap on a punt in the final seconds of the game. Michigan punter Blake O'Neill fumbled the snap, and that led to a game-winning touchdown by Michigan State's Jalen Watts-Jackson. Time expired. Game over. Michigan State wins 27-23. Back in 2022, after 29-7 Wolverines win, a fight broke out in the tunnel there in Ann Arbor. 7 players from Michigan State were charged criminally for their attacks on Michigan players. In 2023, in the midst of Michigan's Spygate scandal, Michigan State threatened to cancel the game because they felt their players were in danger if Michigan were to know all their plays in advance. Now, the game went on as scheduled. Michigan won 49-0. So what's the angle on this year's game? I think it's a tale of two coaches, Sherrone, Jonathan Smith. Sherrone is slowly trying to get the Michigan program back to where Jim Harbaugh had it, competing for Big Ten and national championships. They're not close yet. They're good. But they're not there yet. And, you know, outside of their disappointing setback against USC a couple of weeks ago, we can see small incremental improvements each week with this football team. And not just from freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood, but I think the team as a whole. Would you agree? At Michigan State, any small improvements seen with Jonathan Smith's program, I think they flat out stalled right now. He's 0-4 in the Big Ten. And there are rumblings of discontent, and they're starting to get louder at Michigan State. Now, we made a point in an earlier podcast this week that Jonathan Smith's biggest problem may actually be Indiana's Curt Cignetti. They both took over their respective programs at the same time, and everybody's looking at Indiana going, well, they may not only win a Big Ten championship, they might play for the national championship. Meanwhile, here at Michigan State, same timeline, can't get the wheels rolling exactly. They continue to flounder. I thought the most damning thing about Michigan State this whole season, I told you, I thought the team quit on them against UCLA a couple of weekends ago when they gave up the 38 unanswered points. Now, I also said, to Smith's credit, I thought he had his team ready to play the next week against Indiana. They just couldn't hold up to Indiana's talent advantage there. And look, maybe it's easier to get up for a game against a ranked team than it was against a UCLA team that we're still trying to figure out what they are, by the way. But anyway, this is all while the boosters, they start getting antsy and everything, you know, but a win over a rival like Michigan, that can add an extra year of job security for a coach that may be in trouble, maybe not. So this game is important for Smith and Michigan State. It's also important for Moore and Michigan as well. But, truthfully, a game like this for Michigan, I think could do more harm than good, right? Because, unlike the Spartans, this game isn't even Michigan's biggest rivalry. It is for Michigan State. It's not for Michigan. Always been that way. That's just the way it is. So, if you win it, fine. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're Michigan, you lose it, people get really upset and hold it against you quickly. That's kind of how this game goes. Plus, Michigan is in a point right now. While I was just talking about how they've kind of incrementally improving, they're good, they're not great. They're still hanging on hope that maybe, just maybe, the ball bounces the right way, that they could crack the top 4 in the Big Ten and maybe get into a playoff. They're still hoping for that. They're going to need to run the table to do so. And again, they had a setback against USC. They got the loss to Oklahoma. I thought they had a nice bounce back from the USC game to go ahead and win against what I thought is a good Washington team that did not play very well on Saturday with the 3 interceptions and all that. But moving forward, there's no more room for error. Michigan's got to run the table, and that includes a game against you-know-who at the end of November. So that makes this Saturday a must-win at all costs. 3 of the next 4 for Michigan are on the road, by the way, including Saturday. Michigan State's going to need to bring the kind of energy that it had in the first half against Indiana last week. By the way, it controlled the ball for 19 minutes in that game. They're going to rely on quarterback Aidan Chiles and wide receiver Nick Marsh, but Michigan State's offensive line is going to need their best effort. That's one area. One area they had some success, I thought. First of all, the offensive line, it looked horrible in the UCLA game. It looked a lot better in the Michigan game, or in the Indiana game. And I'll tell you where they had some success. They were able to let Indiana's aggressive defensive line pursue and then drop in a screen pass right behind them off in the flat. They had some success in that in the first half. So, and Michigan's defensive line is very aggressive and very good. So, and again, that defense coming off that 3 interception game with Damon Williams and Washington, defenses look pretty good. On offense, Bryce Underwood is going to continue to rely on his dual threat ability. He's getting more comfortable on when to run, when to throw, that kind of thing. And he's playing behind the youngest offensive line in the Big Ten. Plus, they've had some injuries, and so he has had to scramble at times. Now, hey, I got some good news on that front, by the way. Left tackle Evan Link, who was carted off the field Saturday against Washington. Sherrone Moore says the injury was not as bad as they feared. Good news. Now, he won't be able to play this weekend, maybe not for a while, but he will return at some point this season. Things are also looking positive for their leading rusher in Justice Haynes, who suffered an abdominal side torso injury against USC, sat out the Washington game. He's practicing this week, and he's trending toward playing. So if not, you could expect another heavy dose of Jordan Marshall at running back. Again, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out here as we go into the end of the week. And again, another reminder, this game is huge. Michigan and Michigan State. We're going to go live here on Locked On Big Ten here on YouTube. Check us after the game. Make an appointment. Put it on your calendar right now. Right after they're done with the winning interview with the winning coach on the field, we like to go live right then and there. That'll be around 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. That game is 7:30 Eastern kickoff on NBC game of the week. Anyway, any comments from Michigan fans? Comments from Michigan State fans? Love to hear from you right here. Go ahead and do that. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that's good. Because I know if you're checking us out right now, you're a Big Ten fan. And if you're a Big Ten fan, I know you know other Big Ten people. We all hang out together. Either we're college buddies, family members, friends. Let them know we're out here every day. Hit that little arrow and share this podcast with them. We would really appreciate that. Also, don't forget, we have a website at Talk Big Ten. That's the number 10, talkbig10.com. And all of our podcasts go there. You can go there and check out what you missed earlier this week for a second listen when you're done here. Everything that we did yesterday, for example. Plus, we have a link there if you want to buy your favorite school team merchandise, a Michigan shirt, Michigan State hat, pennants, all right there in time for Christmas. We're like 2 months away. It's panic time, right? All right, so we got all that. Now, we got a lot to do here today. We got Barry Alvarez, the former coach and also athletic director at Wisconsin. And he had some things to say about Luke Fickell. I'll tell you what that is. Brett Bielema is rooting for Ohio State and Indiana to run the table. Why? I will tell you. By the way, we also have some fine print from Curt Cignetti's contract in Indiana that's interesting. And we'll have our Big Ten Classics, all that coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. One of the tools that help make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, Q-U-O, Quo, formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system that you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. And when every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the number one business phone system that streamlines customer communications, and it works right through an app on your phone or computer. No more carrying two phones or relying on a landline. All that's gone. Forget about that. That's old school. You'll love how Quo, again, formerly known as Open Phone, lets your team share one number amongst yourselves and collaborate on calls and texts like a shared inbox, so no customer is left hanging. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockdowncollege. That's QUO.com/lockdowncollege. You could keep your existing number for free as well. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. We love watching games because it's exciting and we're fans. It's even more exciting with FanDuel. And since we're in the middle of the NFL season, FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet and you put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So check it out. That app is super easy to use. Point spreads, game totals, props, futures. You can parlay stuff. It is all right there, super easy. And quick payback when you win. How about that? So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, at FanDuel.com. Thanks for checking us out here at Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. You everydayers, thank you. You really make us go. We always appreciate you here. And we're here every day for you. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com as well, that you can check out. And if you like audio only, guys, Spotify or Apple, we're there too, in addition to YouTube. All right, let's jump into it. We reported here last week that Wisconsin's embattled football coach Luke Fickell seems to be getting a pass. And it seems like despite this horrible season at Wisconsin, where he suffered back-to-back shutouts at home in front of the home fans, and a disappointing 2-5 record that looks like it could be 2-10, a sub 500 record in 2.5 years at 14-18 for Luke Fickell. Chris McIntosh, their AD, gave a couple of strong votes of confidence for Fickell recently and insinuated that not only will Fickell survive this season, that we could expect to see him back next season. McIntosh said that the fix would be to invest more money into the football program and give Fickell more tools. We're going to keep him, is what he says. All right. What does the godfather of Wisconsin football, former coach and athletic director Barry Alvarez, think about all of this? He said recently that people who have never played or never coached always want to fire everybody when things go south. Then what, he asks? You bring in some knuckleheads who don't know anything about anything and start over, and then you're worse off than before. In the meantime, you hire people, you believe in them, you stick with them, you support them, and until the time comes, if it does come, that they can't get the job done, then maybe you think about a change. Anyway, is that refreshing or is that frustrating for a Wisconsin fan? I would love to hear from you on that. Certainly it's bold. When Barry Alvarez speaks at Wisconsin, people listen. And trust me, if he had a different opinion on that, we might have a different situation going on with Luke Fickell and his career there. Meanwhile, Nick Saban was consoling James Franklin recently. They appeared on Game Day on ESPN because he just got fired at Penn State. And Nick Saban says that the pay for play is the reason that all these quick coaching changes and firings and contract buyouts are taking place across the country. And he said, look, more and more people are donating money to football programs. So more and more people feel like they're entitled to tell the school what to do. And the larger the check, the more heavy their opinion. And if they write a big fat check and they say they don't want to coach there anymore, particularly if they're willing to write a check to pay part of that buyout, we're making changes. It's going on all over college football. So anyway, back to the Wisconsin thing. So it looks like they're going to be loyal to Luke Fickell. Is Wisconsin showing loyalty here, or are they not in a position like other schools to pay his $31.5 million buyout? Probably both in that case. Let's talk about Illinois coach Bret Bielema for a minute. He has a very interesting take on the rest of the season. He's hoping that Indiana and Ohio State run the table. He's rooting for these guys. He wants them to remain undefeated, and he wants them to play each other in the Big Ten championship game. Why? Well, Illinois is 5-2. Those only two losses, Indiana and Ohio State. And he feels that Illinois, their ranking will get a boost if the only two teams that beat them go as far as possible. He's probably right about that. So, that and the fact that, Illinois will have to take care of their own business and have to run the table the rest of the way with those two losses. They can't afford it anymore. They have games remaining at Washington this weekend. And by the way, I think that's the toughest game left on their schedule. Okay. They have Rutgers, they got Maryland, they're at Wisconsin, and they play Northwestern for the season finale. So yeah, they get over this hump, root for those guys to go undefeated. Illinois is looking pretty good. We're trying to figure out here on this podcast, like, who's that fourth team? If it goes to form, if Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, if they're the three, we like to think the Big Ten can get four teams into the playoffs. Is that fourth team going to be Illinois? Is it going to be Michigan? Is it going to be USC? Iowa, maybe. Northwestern currently is tied for fourth in the Big Ten. Maybe. Just throwing it out there. Who do you think is going to be that fourth team? Do you think we even get a fourth team? Do you think it's only three this year? Oh, we can't have that. We can't have the SEC get more teams into the Big Ten. We can't do it. Something's got to give. Speaking of Indiana, with Bret Bielema rooting for them to do well, the clauses in Curt Cignetti's new 8-year, $93 million contract extension, a couple of them are interesting. The reported buyout, which we reported, jumped from $10 million to $15 million if he leaves before November 30th, 2026. So about a year and a month from now. That's business as usual. Nothing about that that's too interesting. The buyout, though, drops by $3 million every single year until it's $4 million between 2029 and 2030. And then it disappears completely in 2033, the final year of that deal. Now, Indiana must make good on good faith market reviews within 120 days of making the college football playoff semifinals. So every year that Indiana makes the semifinal of the college football playoffs, if they do, then the school has to review and make sure that all the salaries are good. Make sure that Curt Cignetti's salary will rank no lower than third among active FBS coaches. So every year, if he gets into the semifinals, the Final Four, they got to make him the third highest paid guy in case he is right now. But anytime as years go on and more coaches get paid, and believe me, Lane Kiffin's going to get a new deal, whether it be at Florida or to remain at Ole Miss. Cignetti's not going to be third for long. But if he gets to the semifinals regularly, he will be the third highest paid coach, at least. If Indiana fails to do any of this, then the buyout disappears. Cignetti could become a free agent and leave without penalty. The school must also make a good faith effort to maintain a top tier salary pool for assistant coaches and support staff. Got to keep pace with the Big Ten, within the top 5 of the Big Ten and in the nation's top 10. Let me say that again. So he's the pace for assistant coaches and support staff has to be in the top 5 of the Big Ten and top 10 nationally. It's got to be somewhere in there. All right. Those clauses are in there as well. So if you're new to our podcast, we always have features at the end that make us the most unique podcast out there, that not only just talking Big Ten. We always have, for example, on Mondays, my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. By the way, send me something on X. I'll put it on Tuesday's show. Wednesday, we power rank stuff. Yesterday, we power ranked the Big Ten 1 through 18. A lot of movement. You may have seen we flipped Indiana and Ohio State, and we explained why You can go back for a second listen in case you missed it yesterday to hear the explanation. Thursdays, we look at Big Ten classics and live Big Ten action on the Big Ten Network. And Fridays, tomorrow, we go on the record with our official pigskin picks. So we'll take a look at the Big Ten classics and the Big Ten doubleheader of football on Saturday, when and how and who and all that. Coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. Mazda offers more than safety, although it's won a ton of safety awards in 2025. And as athletes focus on every detail, Mazda does the same with their metallic accents and hand-stitched Napa leather. Whether it's a quick drive to practice or the grocery store or a weekend trip, Mazda makes even everyday drives feel special. So it's the small details that make the big plays in sports. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, let's take a look at the Big Ten Classics and live action on the Big Ten Network this weekend. If you're audio only on Spotify or Apple, no problem. We'll just describe in detail. We got a graphic with team logos and specific times. We don't mention everything on the Big Ten Network. We just have highlighted some things we think you'll be interested in here with the classics coming up. They do a great job of taking a game on the schedule this weekend and then showing old matchups between those two. For example, and you may have to record this if you're off to work on Friday, October 24th, 7 a.m. Eastern. I guess that'd be 4 o'clock on the West Coast. An Iowa football classic. We got Minnesota and Iowa. This is from back in 2019. I love looking back at the names that started. Remember Tyler Goodson rushing for 94 yards and a touchdown to help the 20th ranked Hawkeyes and the 8th ranked Golden Gophers undefeated record, 23-19 at Kinnick Stadium. Then at 8 o'clock Eastern, you can, again, record these if you're going to work. They got a Big Ten football in 60. It's just the whole game condensed into 60 minutes, a little different than the Big Ten Classics. Iowa at Minnesota from last year. Caleb Johnson, remember him? Rushing for 206 yards. Seems like he rushed for 200 yards every week. And 3 touchdowns in the Hawkeyes' 31-14 victory over the Golden Gophers. At 11 a.m. Eastern, it's a Rutgers football classic. Rutgers of Purdue from back in 2020. Artur Sikowski passing for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns to help the Scarlet Knights to a 37-30 victory over the Boilermakers. At 1 o'clock Eastern time, we've got the Michigan Football Classic. You knew we were going to have these with these two matching up this weekend. Michigan at Michigan State 2016 with Jabril Peppers. Had 7 tackles and a touchdown to help the second-ranked Wolverines beat the Spartans 32-23 to take home the old Paul Bunyan Trophy. And then at 2 o'clock, we have equal time, a Michigan State football classic against Michigan from 2020. Rocky Lombardi passing for 323 yards and 3 touchdowns to help the Spartans upset the 13th-ranked Wolverines in a 27-24 game to take the Paul Bunyan Trophy. So that's what we have on Friday. Let's take a look now at Saturday's schedule. We'll pick it up at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. The Big Ten tailgate this week is from Nebraska, where the Big Ten Network crew previews all the games from around the conference, a bunch of stories to tell, take a look around the campus, and they'll be at Nebraska. By the way, Nebraska will be hosting Northwestern. They're not carrying that game. Nevertheless, we'll run all that down tomorrow, by the way, in our preview, where you can watch them, what the point spreads are, what to look forward to as we preview each and every team, every game. We'll do that tomorrow. But the Big Ten countdown to kickoff on the Big Ten Network then starts at 11:30 Eastern, really diving into the games, and they'll have a doubleheader. Sometimes they have triple headers. They'll have a doubleheader this week. At noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, it's Rutgers at Purdue. And then at 3:30, they've got the Illinois at Washington game. That'll be 12:30 on the West Coast at Washington. I think that's a pretty good game. I think, we talked a lot about Michigan State. I think this Illinois-Washington game is pretty intriguing as well. That'll be 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. And then as we move ahead to Sunday, We pick it up at 10 a.m. Eastern with the final drive. Now, the final drive is their highlight recap show on the Big Ten Network, and they'll run that throughout a Saturday night as well and multiple times on Sunday. But we pick it up here at 10 a.m. Eastern Sunday, 7 a.m. Pacific. And then at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, they've got their Big Ten football in 60 start. First, we got Minnesota at Iowa. It's snap-to-snap highlight of the game from the day before. At noon, they'll do one with the Wisconsin game at Oregon. So that's 9 a.m. on the West Coast if you're an Oregon fan for that one. Got to be curious to see if Wisconsin even scores in this game with 2 straight shutouts, taking on an Oregon team at Autzen Stadium. That's going to be tough. At 7 o'clock, the other Big Ten football in 60, Michigan and Michigan State that we've been talking about. If you missed it and you want to boil it down and just sit down for an hour, there it is, 7 p.m. Eastern. Maybe you're done with your double headers of NFL football and you want to catch up on that one. 7 o'clock Eastern is the time to do it. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, they'll do a football 60 UCLA at Indiana. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, they've got another one with Illinois at Washington. So you could check that out as well. So there you have it. A look at Big Ten Classics and Big Ten live action on the Big Ten Network this weekend. Hope you enjoy all of that. Once again, another reminder, don't forget, we will be going live here on Locked On Big Ten immediately after the Michigan State game. We approximate probably about 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. Join us. We have a great time with it, and I love your immediate real-time reaction. You get mine as well. We're here every day. I know we're live on Saturday, but we're here every day throughout the week with multiple podcasts with news, analysis, and opinion on that news, all 18 Big Ten teams. Many ways for you to interact with us, of course, at Twitter or X at TalkBig10 Our website, TalkBig10 10.com, where all of our podcasts go, plus links for you to buy your favorite Big Ten merchandise if you want it there. Before you go, please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And then you and me, we're in the same Big Ten club forever. All right. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out as well. And for you college football fans, one last word. Locked On and Fire TV present the college football kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On could do, so catch the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. That'll do it for us. Enjoy it. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got our pigskin picks and our previews for every single Big Ten team, every single Big Ten game. We always look forward to that to close out the work week there. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll see you then.